little bit of A Love Like Winter by AFI. All Request Friday on the show. And Yuda wanted to hear A Love Like Winter. It is Winter Theme Day on All Request Friday here on the program. It's funny because I chose this theme at the beginning of the week because we were already being warned about the wicked weather that was to come our way. And yesterday, I thought to myself, did it miss? Did it somehow not make it? And holy Hannah. So they told us so. I can't take credit for it, of course, but the forecasters warned us that by this point of the week, we would be in full-fledged winter. So the theme makes so much sense. You'll hear more of your winter-themed requests throughout the show today. And hey, thanks very much for being here. I know it's not the easiest day to be doing anything. And Ron, you're a funny guy. Email to Mike at 570news.com. I'm not sure what happened, but on the internet side, it's a repeat of yesterday's show. Reed says the same thing. Just wanted to let you know it's actually Friday, not Thursday. You gave me a small heart attack thinking I had to work another day. Reed, buddy, I got you. What we didn't have was a full complement of staff here this morning. You deserve so much better than this. You really do. So thank you for putting up with that brief little dream. Let's call it that. A midwinter's dream, an early winter's dream. It's not the Midsummer Night Shakespeare. Let me tell you that for free. But we just thought you might enjoy hearing again the beginning of the Thursday show. But all hands are now on deck. And this is live on Friday morning, the 28th of November. And just so you don't have to think again about the 5 things from yesterday, let's get your 5 things for today.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
It wouldn't be a show if it didn't start with the Farwell Show 5, right? This is live. This is happening today on Friday, November the 28th. School's open today, but school buses not running. And as you can imagine, several cancellations and closures, including all of Wilfrid Laurier University's campuses. For a full list of those closures and cancellations, please just visit our website at kitchener.citynews.ca, because I think it would be a rather boring show if I just read all of the closures and cancellations to you. So check out the site, kitchener.citynews.ca. Now, my buddy Mike in Guelph sent me an email, asked how the weather was here in Kitwattville. Clearly, Mike, you hadn't tuned into the station yet this morning when you sent the email. But Mike says Guelph hardly saw anything snow-wise. Are you kidding me right now? How can we be buried and Guelph hardly saw anything? If that's actually the case, Mike is no longer my friend. Number 2 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, congrats to Douglas Neely, who has won a pair of tickets to see the Jonas Brothers live at TD Coliseum in Hamilton on December the 14th, and $1,000 cold hard cash. Doug is our latest 570 News Radio Tree of Hope 50/50 Early Bird Prize winner. This is all in support of the Family and Children's Services Foundation of Waterloo Region. We made that draw at 8 this morning. Dougie, attaboy, 2 tickets to the Jonas Brothers, $1,000 in cash. We have a guaranteed take-home prize in that 50/50 raffle of $50,000, but that jackpot grows the more that you give. The next early bird prize, let me tease you about that because it's coming up next Friday. A pair of Ed Sheeran tickets at the Rogers Centre next summer. Talk like that to me. Say those nice words to me. Summer, and another $1,000 cash. That early bird draw will be made next Friday morning at 8 a.m. So get your tickets right now. Again, guaranteed take-home prize of $50,000, a number that will only grow, and a chance to go see Ed Sheeran August the 21st at Rogers Centre, and another $1,000 cash. Get your tickets right now, FACS5050.com, and congratulations again to Doug Neely. Number 3 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, former Kitchener Centre MP Mike Morris has been announced as a new deputy leader for the Green Party of Canada. Green Party of Canada leader Elizabeth May was in Waterloo Region last night to announce Morris as the party's newest deputy leader, joining deputy leader Rainbow Eyes, whose current term started in 2024. Number 4, Trillium United Church in Preston, having its Christmas market and book sale tomorrow from 8 a.m. until 1 p.m. Now, this is a big, hairy deal at Trillium United on King Street in Preston. People line up early every year just to get their hands on those baked goods and take advantage of that book sale. If you buy 2 books, you get the third one for free. Proceeds from the market and the bookstore go towards the work of the church in the community. And number 5 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, Waterloo Wildfire Ring at. When you're going to see their games at Rim Park this weekend, take with you, please, a non-perishable food item for the food bank of Waterloo Region, because once again, our Waterloo Wildfire U19, U16, and U14 teams have organized a food drive. Last year, they raised enough in funds and food donations to make 1,500 meals. This year, they want to double that to 3,000. So when you go to those games, Waterloo Wildfire at Rim Park on Sunday, make sure you take a cash or non-perishable food donation for the food bank of Waterloo Region. Let's help these young ringette players get to that goal of 3,000 meals raised Sunday at Rim Park. You go Wildfire, you go. I'm going to go to the 570 News Center so you can get an update, and then we'll get into a conversation with a young girl from Cambridge who had the chance to play with Sir Paul McCartney. No, they weren't playing hockey. She was on stage with him performing. How did this happen? You'll find out next on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Rogers TV.
You're as cold as ice. You're willing to sacrifice our love. You never take advice.
It is an all-request Friday, Winter Songs edition, because, you know, winter. And Heather, Farwell's Force member number 92. No, she's 27. I don't know where 92 came from. Heather is number 92 or 27. She likes to mix it up that way and keep me on my toes. Foreigner and Cold of Ice, all request Friday, Winter Songs edition on the show. Speaking of music, I don't know what it would be like to get the opportunity that these young performers just had, but we're about to find out. Because I know this much. When Sir Paul McCartney comes a-calling, you just say yes, don't you? And that's what happened when Paul McCartney was in Hamilton last week, and the opportunity was provided, the Paris Port Dover Pipe Band, to be on stage, Mull of Kintyre performing alongside Sir Paul McCartney. Gord Black is the senior pipe major with the Paris Port Dover Pipe Band. Gord, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And along with Gord, we've got Stephen and Rowan Paniccia with us. Stephen, good morning.
Good morning.
How did I do on your last name?
Perfect.
Oh, it's a good day. Actually, it's getting better. I'll say that. And Rowan, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Gord, if I could start with you about the opportunity itself. How did this come to pass that the Paris Port Dover Pipe Band was on stage in Hamilton with the one and only Sir Paul McCartney?
It goes back to 2010, Mike, when we were first invited to play in his show in Toronto. And that came from a friend of mine called Dennis Toll, who had a contact with Live Nation, and then it grew from there. So we played again. We played twice for him in 10, and then we played again 2015. And then after the 2015 show, we get pretty friendly with some of the staff in the group. So the invite came from Paul's office itself for this one in Hamilton.
That first time, Gord, going back several shows ago, I mean, do you have to stop? I can't even get over the fact that this is a thing, and I can't wait to get Rowan's perspective on this. But I mean, do you think somebody was playing a practical joke? Like, how does that work?
We did. The first time it happened to me, I thought, oh no, I'm dreaming here. I'm in the middle of a dream. And even when we went on stage that very first time, I was shocked. Growing up in Scotland, along with the Beatles and Wings, I was shocked to actually be standing on stage the first time. In fact, every time. This time was different, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay. We will. I'll get back to that. Rowan, I want to bring you into the conversation here, please. So don't say Facebook is just a cesspool of misinformation and bad information. Our content producer, Justine Fraser, came across a post on a Facebook page called Cambridge Moms, and Rowan's mom was bragging that her daughter was on stage playing the pipes with Sir Paul McCartney. So, Rowan, first of all, may I ask, how old are you?
I'm 19.
19 years old. Do you know the Beatles much at all?
Yes.
Okay, of course
Yes,
you do. You're a musician. Of course you know the Beatles. So what was it like for you to be on that stage?
I was in disbelief. It was something I never thought I would be doing.
Did you get to interact with Sir Paul at all?
I did. I got to shake his hand.
Are you ever going to wash that hand again, Rowan?
We joked about it, but I will.
How long have you been playing the pipes?
About 3 years.
3 years? Did you start doing this because you don't like your parents and you just wanted to torture them with those sounds as you're learning?
Kind of.
Stephen, over to you, because we saw from the post on Facebook that this is obviously a very proud parent moment. What is your experience watching your daughter do this?
You know, it was one of those things where when she started bagpipes 3 years ago, you shake your head and you go, wow, okay, pipes it is. And then to get the opportunity 3 years later to play with Sir Paul McCartney just as unbelievable.
One of the biggest things is when she was leaving the venue after I picked her up, because I wasn't at the concert. It sold out too fast for us to get tickets.
Wait a minute. Paul McCartney's Piper's parents can't get some extra tickets? Come on.
So the best thing about it is when she still had her kilt on and stuff like that when she was leaving the venue, and every 5 steps somebody was stopping them and saying how amazing the pipe band was, and it made them tear up. And that was the proudest moment ever.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love to hear that. Does music run in the family, Stephen?
We love listening to it.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Well, on my brother's side, there's some, but not our immediate family.
Now, Rowan, I can't imagine that you've had a bigger performance to play than this one with Paul McCartney in your 3 years so far.
No, definitely not.
So what did you do to get ready for this, and how nervous were you as you set foot on that stage?
We had a few rehearsals beforehand. On the day of, I was incredibly nervous. But as I walked onto the stage, I was just so focused on playing the song and getting everything ready. I was just confident.
I like that. That's a good performer right there. You're focused on the job that you need to do, and you crushed it. By all accounts, this was a tremendous performance. As your dad said, people stopping afterwards, bringing them to tears. Gord, let me swing it back to you, because you said earlier this time was different. What made this time different?
This time for me personally, I was kind of honoured and proud of all the young members that we managed to get on stage. Rowan being one of them. Other ones from the age of 12 up to 13, 14, 16. It was just a moment for me watching all these young, keen players and good players be on stage to play with Sir Paul. It was pretty emotional. It was an emotional show for everyone. Even Paul shed a tear at the end of it. His guitar tech shed a tear. all the crew behind stage that we know, the Scottish guys that work on Paul's team, they were all emotional. And the audience, all the band, the audience, everyone in the building was emotional. It's the only time he's done Mull of Kintyre on this tour. And it's probably the only time he's going to play it. He's in Chicago this weekend. But I don't think Mull of Kintyre's on the set list.
And, of course, we recognize that Sir Paul is at an age where we don't know how much longer we're going to be able to enjoy the music. But everything I heard, Gord, is that this was another whale of a performance by a legend. What did you make of Sir Paul's performance that night?
His performance it was superb. Of course, there's changes in the voice, and that's to be expected. We don't all keep the same voice that we had when we were 20. So his singing voice, it hasn't really changed that much. It's still there. The show was very professional. His group really support him well on vocals and instruments. We just I thought it was one of the best shows that I've seen, and we get to see some of it. And I thought it was a tremendous show. I do hear in the grapevine that someone said he's planning another world trip next year, 26. But that's only rumor. I don't know if that's true.
Well, listen, Stephen, let me remind you here. If the rumor does come true, line up early for those tickets. You don't want to miss the next chance when Rowan's out there.
No, that's for sure. Automatically getting tickets.
Rowan, what did you think of Sir Paul McCartney's performance? I mean, he's got about 65 years on you here. Is this inspiring to see somebody doing what he's still doing?
Definitely. His performance was magnificent.
Now, what about you? I mean, like I said earlier, I can't imagine you've ever had a bigger performance than this, but what do you do for an encore, Rowan? What's next for you in your piping career?
Well, it won't be coming for another who knows how many years, but I do want to reach grade 1 at some point.
Well, it's incredible what you were able to do, and the reviews of the performance were outstanding, which speaks to how good it was, the quality of it. I'm excited for you from here, if you can't tell. I just couldn't believe when we came across this story, and you deserve every bit of praise that you're getting from this. So, Rowan and Stephen, Gord, thank you all very much for joining the show today. Stay safe in this bad weather, and we're looking forward to watching you on stage again with Sir Paul or somebody else. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On stage with Sir Paul McCartney, Rowan Paniccia joining the show along with her father, Stephen, and Gord Black, who's the senior pipe major with the Paris Port Dover Pipe Band. Just imagine Sir Paul McCartney's team reaching out to say, listen, we're playing Mull of Kintyre and we need a band, a pipe band, and you are that pipe band because why not get the locals? 19 years young. Heck, Paul McCartney was younger than that when he started with the Beatles, wasn't he? Anyway, here we are all these years later. What an opportunity for a young piper from nearby Brant County. Joining us this morning on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
570 News Radio Traffic Alert.
I'm Josh Piercy. We're following some significant issues on the roads this morning because of that weather. We'll start on the 401. We're heading westbound near Cedar Creek. A dump truck T-boned a tractor trailer in the ditch now, but the middle lane of traffic is the only bit of traffic that's getting through that area. It's incredibly slow, very slippery. Also, Highway 8 between Cambridge and Hamilton is closed after a crash near Safari Road. You won't be able to use that road to commute between the two communities.
Something on your mind? Have something to say?
Call the Mike Farwell Show now.
519-570-2545.
1-800-570-5715.
And star 570.
Dreamed I was an Eskimo. Frozen wind
wind began to blow. Under my boots and around my toe.
A little bit of Frank Zappa. Hey, don't eat the yellow snow, okay? Good piece of advice from Mr. Zappa. That is by request from Nate, number 8 on the list of Farwell's Force membership on this All Request Friday. Winter Songs edition, Frank Zappa, Don't Eat the Yellow Snow. I want to go back quickly, if I may, to our Farwell Show 5 this morning, because I was telling you about our Waterloo wildfire ringette teams this weekend and their food and fundraising drive in support of the food bank of Waterloo Region. And I'm going to blame it on too much snow. I mean, I've got no excuse, though. I got my dates mixed up, and I'm very sorry for that. The games are Saturday, not Sunday. The story stands, though. These terrific young athletes are using their platform to try to raise money and food for the food bank of Waterloo Region. They did this last year. They were able to raise enough funds and food for 1,500 meals. This year, they want to make it 3,000 meals. So on Saturday, tomorrow, when you go to Rim Park to watch our Waterloo Wildfire ringette teams, U19, U16, and U14, take a non-perishable food item with you. Or, as the late, great Don Cameron used to say, take the cash. It's lighter. And help out these athletes, help our food bank of Waterloo Region. Okay, so the games at Rim Park tomorrow, Waterloo Wildfire ringette, helping out our food bank of Waterloo Region for a second consecutive year. Last year, 1,500 meals raised. This year, they want to make it to 3,000. And I know they can with your help. So when you go watch the Waterloo Wildfire at Rim Park tomorrow, take some food with you or some money with you to help out this food drive for the food bank of Waterloo Region. Just quickly going back to an email I got as well, I wanted to share with you because we didn't have the start to the show we expected today, but I wanted to make sure I read Ken's email to Mike at 570news.com. Good morning, Mike. I looked out my window this morning and saw the epitome of a jackwagon. This vehicle was trying to turn around on our dead-end street full of snow. The one side of the vehicle and back window were covered, and the ones that weren't had a dark tint. It makes you wonder if they even had a license. Ken, thank you for that. You'll find a picture this morning on our Facebook page, facebook.com/The Mike Farwell Show. We were ootin' a boot last night as best we could in that wicked weather, making our way to Chef D's new restaurant in Cambridge, Something Different. And when we were on our way back, my beloved snapped this picture of a vehicle passing us going the other way. And it was covered, save for whatever the windshield wipers got off the windshield and whatever I think they put down their window on the driver's side because it was maybe half clear and nothing else. The back, the hood, the headlights, and nothing. And they were on the road. Again, you can see the picture for yourself. Facebook.com/The Mike Farwell Show. You know this is one of my pet peeves. Look, I hate cleaning off the car as much as the next person. Do you know what I did this morning? I got up 10 minutes earlier and I cleaned off the damn car. Sure, it's not always first thing in the morning. Wherever you go, when you get back in the car, if it's covered with snow, clean off the snow. You're a menace. We need to take speed cameras and bring them back and make them snow cameras because anybody that drives their vehicle without cleaning off every damn pane of glass goes to jackwagon jail. It really upsets me. It really, really upsets me. And thanks to Shane, Farwell's Force member number 228, for calling into our traffic center and saying, I've been stuck on the westbound 401 for 3 hours. Tell Farwell he needs another coffee. Shaner, you get off that highway and come straight here. I'll take the coffee. I'm a little fired up this morning. Let me tell you, I could go outside, stand in the parking lot, and melt the snow. That's how much rage is coming off me today. Barbara is on the phone with us. Good morning, Barb.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm furious.
Good.
You asked, I answered.
There you go. I'll
Okay.
just I'll just go right over that. It's a beautiful snow day. I love snow days. Everybody's out. All the neighbors are all shoveling. But I was thinking, so as the snowplow went by my house for the third time, so there's that big heavy stuff at the end that I can hardly lift. The the cities have been saying to shovel out a little alleyway for the plow to dump all that stuff before it gets to your driveway. And as I'm trying to lift this huge windrow at the end of my driveway, I'm thinking, how am I going to I have to do all that and then dig some more like in front of my driveway? Good gravy. That's all. Mike,
okay.
Snow day, cross-country skis are out, the snowshoes are out, the skates are down. We're ready to go. Let's go winter.
All right. You enjoy it. I'm glad you can enjoy days like this. You know me, I don't. And to Barb's point about the heavy snow, like, can't we ease into this gently? Is that too much to ask? I was out last night before bed, finished up a little after 10, and got up this morning, and you'd never would have known that I shoveled. But even then, heavy, thick, wet. Oh, my God. It's rotten, and it's still coming. Anyway, I know that you know, and you don't need to hear me complain about it all day, but this is brutal. And because Barb mentioned it, I'm glad she did, so she reminded me. A huge, huge shout out to our women and men that operate those plows in this region. I got on the expressway this morning. Look, not every side street's going to be cleared at 6 o'clock when I'm leaving the house. I get it. Fine. I got on that highway this morning. It was like a spring rain. That's how well cleared it was. Way to go, you plow crews. Way to go. I mean, you drove with care on the highway for sure, but they did such a good job. I'm talking 6 o'clock this morning, and it was like wet pavement. Come on with your coming on. You women and men in those plows, God bless you today. God bless you today. Keep it up. I know it's not an easy job, but you're doing great work out there. Full marks to the crews that got those roads in operation this morning. I'm going to get you an update from the 570 News Center, and then the wonders of winter return to Waterloo Park. Are you ready? Are the volunteers ready? We'll talk about it next on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening. A beautiful sight, we're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland. Gone away is the bluebird.
Listen, Norma, you're allowed to do two things. A, request whatever song you want to request on All Request Friday. And two, call it a wonderland if you want to. I got other words for weather like this, let me tell you. But Norma, on this All Request Friday, Winter Songs Edition, wanted to hear some Walkin' in a Winter Wonderland. That is Michael Bublé's version of the song, as we, I think, stick with that theme. The wonders of winter, and if you want to take a walk through a real winter wonderland, that may well be Waterloo Park, because starting tomorrow, it is the 33rd annual Wonders of Winter Festival of Lights, and one of the driving forces behind it, volunteer-wise, is David Hollinger, who joins me in studio. How did you make it in here this morning? Look at you go.
Well, I only live a couple of blocks away.
Okay, fine. So you just walk down the street in your snowshoes or something.
Snow tires on the car.
Good man. Good man.
Spent 45 minutes plowing out the driveway. But
it's something.
No worries.
Good man. Good man. How are you feeling today on the eve, essentially, of the big lighting of the Festival of Lights tomorrow?
Well, this is amazing, Mike. We did a walk through the other night to make sure everything was working, and it was beautiful. The park has more lights than ever. As you know, there have been some renovations done in the park. When I say renovations, the EB farm is gone, so there's a lot more open space. And so we've been able to put displays where we've never been able to put them before. We've also rebuilt displays, making some new and redoing others that were getting a little tired, like Cinderella, for instance, and Cinderella and the carriage and the pumpkin. And we have a number of volunteers who've just been extremely creative in making these and bringing them to life. We have a dinosaur conga line this year, which is kind of fun. And they're in the one area that had been black before because we weren't able to put any lighting in. The other one is the Waterloo Professional Firefighters Association come out and help us. We need strong young bodies to pound stakes, and they'll work a 12-hour day and then come out and help us set up displays. So we have a fire truck with an aerial ladder that goes up and down, and they're thrilled to sponsor that on behalf of their association as well. So I think the park has got a whole new look this year. Whole new look.
I love, Dave, to hear the enthusiasm in your voice all these years later, because you've been at this a long time, but every year, it's planning it out, it's getting it set up, it's doing that walk through when it's lit before the crowds start coming in tomorrow, but you continue to find wonder in this yourself.
Well, Mike, really what it is we've got a group of 20-plus volunteers that think up the displays, talk to their grandkids and say, what is it that we need this year and what's new? Who should we add? They work from January through till April, May this year, rebuilding, reconstructing, making new displays, and they're all built by our volunteers. Nothing is per se purchased, if you will. And they bring the vigor to this whole thing. And then when you're in the park and you see the kids running around and the grandparents and the children, we get marriage proposals in the park as well. There's the Victoria Gardens, which is near the Yonge Street entrance, had an absolutely amazing marriage proposal last year. So when we see things like that, we know we're doing the right stuff. And that's why we got 52,000 visitors. Did I say that right? 52,000 visitors last year in the park. The largest festival anywhere. Beautiful. I can brag.
Absolutely beautiful. You keep talking about the volunteers that make this happen. The Firefighters Association helping out with some of this heavy lifting, so to speak. But how do you, because this is free to the public, starting tomorrow, lights go on every evening, free to the public. How do you keep it going? What's the secret here?
Well, we've focused on small business, if you will. And small businesses can't afford the gold sponsorship at $10,000 or $20,000. So sponsorship of a display is about $525 a year. That keeps your display alive, gets it relamped or fixed if it's damaged in any way by weather or what have you, but also lets us build new displays and keep the festival alive. And I believe we have 53 sponsors this year. Just have two new sponsors that came on, a high-tech company called TextNow, and a few other firms that have just joined up this November. They said, we've enjoyed the lights. Can we help you keep them on? And that's what happens. So that money really gets into the new displays and is wisely used.
Over all of these years, you talk about new displays. So we're going to find, as we go through Waterloo Park, some of our favorites, the classics, and some new stuff this year.
Absolutely. I can't tell you what some of the new things are. You have to come out and see them.
Of course you do. I like that, David. Good job. Good job. What do folks need to know? Again, I know this opens officially tomorrow evening, and then we're going to have it every evening as soon as dusk falls. Until when?
The lights go on at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Till 10:30 at night, every night till January the 3rd. So it's free, which is, I think, extremely important. So many people say, where do we buy tickets? Where do we go? Parking is around the park. We have about 5 entrances to the park, off of Father David Bauer Drive by the recreation complex. In the park itself, by the Park Inn is a small lot. Over towards the Waterloo Tennis Club off Central Street, there's a parking lot. There's a large lot off of Seagram Drive by the Ion station. And you can bring Grand River Transit and the Ion right to the park and come in. So very accessible, very easy to get to. The city is working very hard at making the park more accessible for, I'll say, wheelchairs and walkers and seniors. It is a walking park. There is no vehicular traffic, and that makes it very safe for the children.
Sure. So I don't want to be a negative Nelly here, but I know in recent times, outdoor displays like this have encountered the occasional problem. So how much maintenance is there on the part of volunteers to ensure that every night this is ready to go and all the lights are still there and all the displays are still standing?
Interestingly, we don't like to talk about that because I'll say over the last 5 years, we've had very little of that.
Good.
We get the odd, I think, student who likes to take a string of lights off one of the promenade trees to decorate their dorm room or whatever. So we hope they enjoy that. But in general, we've had no damage or vandalism, and that's absolutely amazing. I think it has to do with the community spirit and the number of people in the park. Waterloo Park is extremely busy during the day and at night. So I think that helps keep the park, I'll say, a safe place and a vandalism-free place.
I love to hear that. And that's the way it should be. I think you're right. The community really does rally around this. I know people look forward to it every year. What keeps you going, Dave? Besides caffeine, probably, but...
That. My doctor's office is just over here, so he's very handy. I think it's just the enthusiasm. As I said a few minutes ago, it's the kids when they come out and run around and see and can actually go up to the displays and touch them and enjoy them. And they're walking by and they say, oh, look, it's here or there. And, you know, we do have a special guest every once in a while who comes out. This guy's in a red suit.
I was going to say, was he wearing a red suit? Okay.
He was.
Yeah.
He's absolutely amazing, and he comes out on an impromptu basis because, of course, if it's raining, he doesn't want to get the suit wet. But every once in a while, we'll see that fellow in the park and his elves. He has elves as well.
Of course, you have to make sure you have enough ears to catch all of those little messages from the kids who are coming through. So the Park Inn is the place for the official start to the season tomorrow.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes, the front steps of the log house. As you might remember, the log house is our oldest, or was one of the oldest schoolhouses in town. And the City Museum, Waterloo City Museum, is operating that as part of their museum enterprise. So we're starting there with the mayor around 4:30-ish and a few councillors and getting the park ready to turn the lights on at 5 o'clock.
All right. 5 o'clock tomorrow. They'll go on. They'll stay on right through January the 3rd. And again, this is absolutely free to the community. 52,000 visitors last year. I'm sure we'll have as many, if not more, this year. Dave, to you and the entire team that gets behind this every year, does all this work for us in the community, thank you sincerely and appreciate you being here this morning, too.
It's our pleasure.
David Hollinger. Joining us on the show this morning, Wonders of Winter, the annual Festival of Lights in Waterloo Park, opens tomorrow. Join them at the Park Inn on the front steps to that log house at 4:30 for the official opening ceremonies. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Sundown in the Paris of the prairie, we kings of all treasures buried. And all you hear are the rusted breezes pushing around the weather vane Jesus.
Couple of things here. First of all, one of my all-time favorites might be my favorite hip tune of all, especially with the loon call at the beginning. But when I hear it, I think summer, maybe spring, possibly autumn, but definitely not winter. And this is an all-request Friday winter songs edition. But Maria has method to her madness around this request. She says, I would like you to consider Wheat Kings by the Tragically Hip. Why? Because Tessa Virtue and Scott Moyer won Olympic gold ice dancing to this song. They are Canadian royalty, in my humble opinion, Maria writes in her email. I always say, we put a theme around All Request Friday, and you can get creative with that theme. I would say Maria got most creative with her request of Wheat Kings by the Tragically Hip. All Request Friday Winter Songs edition. We learned, thanks to a report from the region earlier this week, that we will be meeting our stated target of 4,000 affordable childcare spaces by the end of 2026. Absolutely some good news here. And to talk more about it, We're joined by the Director of Children's Services with the Region of Waterloo, Barb Cardo, joins the show. Barb, good morning.
Good morning.
How were we able to accomplish this, get to that stated goal by the end of next year, 4,000 childcare spaces?
Well, it started with an exciting announcement from the federal government. I believe it was in 2021 that we were embarking on the Canada-wide Early Learning and Childcare program across the country, which involved significant funding right across the country that would be invested to create new childcare spaces and that would respond to and ensure that families who experience the most barriers to childcare and are least represented in the childcare system will have access. So that includes families living with low income, and it would we would grow in areas where childcare is needed the most, and there would be an investment in increasing the workforce and strengthening the workforce, which was really struggling at that time, to grow, to be appropriately remunerated, and to be treated as the professionals that registered early childhood educators are.
As good as this news is, of course, Barb, that we will have more than 4,000 funded childcare spaces in the region by the end of 2026, the reality on the other end of that news is that the demand continues to increase and that wait list is growing.
It is. There are currently, we have a centralized wait list in Waterloo Region, so we can get a fairly accurate picture of the number of families who are waiting, and we know that there are 14,000 unique children on the wait list. That means, no double counting. And 9,500 of them indicate that they need care within the next 3 months.
So we're able to add these almost 1,500 new spots by the end of next year to reach that target, that stated target of 4,000. But with this wait list being as long as it is, Barb, how do we go about the process of tackling that?
Yeah, it is just so difficult for families who are not able to get a space. And families share with us that they end up, those who are not able to get into a child care space are faced with some really difficult decisions. That might, for those who can afford it, it may include purchasing private care that's not part of the CWELC system. So, compared to the $22 a day that a parent would pay to a CWELC funded or Canada-wide funded space, would probably be closer to $60 a day. So a significant difference, and many families just cannot afford that. So those families end up having to make even more difficult decisions, such as not going back to work, not going to school, having to go on social assistance, and or families who decide to have one parent or parent on opposite shifts, and other creative, getting family to provide care, which often is not easy or ideal, and can be disruptive for, everybody involved. So it's really tough. So I want to acknowledge that first. And although, yes, we are growing, and yes, in the next year, an additional 1,500 little ones will be able to access a child care space, but we're not done growing. So we continue to let our funder, the province, know that we need more spaces in our community. And of course, with that, we need that. What comes with that is the funding to grow and fund those spaces.
What are the biggest barriers? Is it that funding that prevents us from creating the necessary spaces?
100%. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it is. We can't grow. We can't grow affordable spaces unless there are is the funding to create, open, operate the center, and provide the reduced fees to families.
You're doing great work, Barb, really are, and we'll get to that 4,000 target by the end of next year, and we'll keep chipping away at the rest.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for making time today.
Thanks so much, Mike.
Take care.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. Barb Cardo is the Director of Children's Services with the Region of Waterloo. It's kind of a bittersweet almost story because, yes, we're going to meet the target that we set of 4,000 of those affordable, funded through the Canada-wide Early Learning and Childcare Plan spaces by the end of 2026. But if you look back 3 years ago, we had a wait list of around 5,000. Now there are about 14,000 children on that wait list. So great news that we can create another 1,500 spaces and get to that target of 4,000 by the end of next year. But the wait list has almost tripled in the past 3 years. So the challenge, of course, continues. For us, well, no, let me make this more specific. The challenge for the Cambridge Redhawks in the Greater Ontario Hockey League this weekend is formidable, if I do say so myself, but they have a chance, if they can meet that challenge, rise to that challenge, they have a chance of setting a new GOHL record this weekend. We'll tell you about it before 11. And, of course, it's Friday. That means game day. Kitchener Rangers at home tonight to take on the Niagara Ice Dogs, and the head coach of the Kitchener Rangers always makes time for our show on Friday mornings at 10:30. So after this update from the 570 News Center, we'll be joined by Rangers head coach UC Ahokas for the Coach's Show. That's next on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Well, you just heard Josh Gorey mention it at the end of that update in the 570 News Center. The Niagara Ice Dogs in town to take on your Kitchener Rangers tonight. And as he does every Friday morning at this time on game days, Rangers head coach UC Ahokas joins us for the Coach's Show. Good morning, UC.
Good morning.
Coming off a win last Sunday night in Oshawa. They made it close. They got within a goal, and then your team was able to extend their lead and really put Oshawa to bed in the third period. What can you take away from that win?
I think I liked our first period play. We had good position in the puck. We had good rush drives. We had plenty of chances. I think second we a little bit gave up too many chances against, but otherwise I think it was a solid performance, and we took the win, and then good things were power play, 2 goals, so power play is starting to look good also, so that was positive.
Plenty of chances, and you capitalized on a lot of those chances, scoring 6 goals. That ties your season high for goals in a game. Is that the kind of finish that you're looking for on those chances that we've been talking about for a little bit?
Well, that's we've had even in other games way more chances, but now that's good. 6 goals is plenty if we do that. But I would say from us, probably you look at statics, we could have maybe 10, 15 goals more if we would have scored like how you normally score. So I'm scared. I'm not I think the goals will come because we have the chances. It's just a matter of time. And now yesterday or last Sunday, we got that 6 goals. So it's come, the offense is starting to build up.
Speaking of those goals coming, there were a couple of players I wanted to touch on, one of them being Jacob Zhu. Draft eligible this year, worked into your lineup last year. What does it tell you about him? He gets his first goal on the weekend.
I think he's been improving a lot. I think the expectations were for him on himself were a little bit high, and he's a little bit had a slow start, but I think he's going forward, and I think when he's active. He uses skating and his physicality. I think he plays well then.
Another player talking about expectations was a first-rounder for the Rangers last year. Got his first point last weekend, but I've seen over the last couple of weeks, it really seems to be that his game is rounding into form, and I'm talking about Evan Hedrick. What have you seen from him?
I think, and we have to understand, he missed pretty much the whole season last year with the injury, so we have to give him time. And I think now it's starting to be there that he's had enough games and he's kind of finding it. And, of course, he's played as a center also, what he's played the whole life. So I think the center spots suits him well. And I think the goals he's had chances, and I think it's more, and I can see the confidence is building up. So happy on this game, and I think we'll see a lot more when the season goes on.
It goes without saying the kind of performance that Alexander Bolecki had on Sunday, a goal and 2 assists. And he's one of, I think, 3, maybe if we add Zoo in, 4 defensemen, but Bolecki, Chromiak, Reed, you've always got these guys because they skate so well as part of your offense. How important are defensemen like that to the style you play?
Well, I think all in all, like today's game, like if you want to create chances from rushes, your D have to join in. It's just how it goes in today's game, and you need them and Bill's had he had a great, that was his best game of the year, but for him, I think we've seen the offensive upside's always been there, and now it's just for him to play consistency in his game, and I think he's also taking another step this season, and he'll be he's a good Kitchener Ranger for sure.
There's no easy game in this league on any night, and you get a team tonight in Niagara that's lost 7 in a row. That probably makes them even a little bit more dangerous because they want to get that win. What do you need to do to be successful against the Ice Dogs tonight?
Well, against them, you have to get your puck position. Like they have a good forward group. They stretch. They look for offense all the time. So you have to manage pucks, and then all in all, you have to be ready to battle against these guys. And that's I think if we manage pucks, and we have to keep scoring, take advantage of our chances, and we'll do good, fine.
Looking forward to it, as always, a Friday night at the Odd. Thanks very much for this, UC.
All right, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
UC Ahokas, the head coach of the Kitchener Rangers, joins us on Friday mornings, 10:30 for the Coaches Show, getting us ready for the game tonight, because Friday's game day, baby. And the Kitchener Rangers did have a nice, tidy win over the Oshawa Generals last Sunday night. I don't want to look ahead, okay, because we'll have plenty of time to talk to the head coach on Saturday about the big game that the Rangers have then. That would be the game in Brantford against the still undefeated, in regulation, Bulldogs. The Brantford Bulldogs have lost 5 games, 4 in overtime and 1 in a shootout. But they have lost precisely 0 games in regulation so far this season. But that's tomorrow night's challenge. Tonight, you got to focus on the Niagara Ice Dogs. As I said, it's always a more dangerous team when they've got a losing streak, the likes of which the Ice Dogs are in the midst of. 7 consecutive losses. They have plummeted down the Eastern Conference standings. So this is a team absolutely ripe for the Rangers tonight, and Kitchener can build on its win last weekend, but they're going to have to be careful. Now, on the other side of that ledger, just to bring you up to speed on all things OHL here, the Flint Firebirds in the Western Conference have won 10 straight games, 10 in a row, and they have rocketed up the Western Conference standings, now sitting 3rd, but they've got 7 points more than the Kitchener Rangers, who sit 5th, and Flint is just 2 points behind the division leading and Western Conference leading Windsor Spitfires. That's how good Flint has been. What a run that they are on. And even though Flint is 7 points ahead of the Kitchener Rangers, just think about this. The Rangers sit 5th in the Western Conference and 3rd in the Midwest Division, but they're just 2 points out of 1st. Like, it's wild how bunched up these standings are. Kitchener at 30 points, London at 31, and the Owen Sound Attack at 32 points. Owen Sound, by the way, has played 4 more games than your Kitchener Rangers. So keep that in mind if you get a little bit bummed out when you look at the standings. These Rangers are in a crowded spot in the conference right now, but boy, you go to string together wins like the Flint Firebirds are stringing together, and you'll get out of that crowd in an awful hurry. News and notes around the league this week. You probably heard about the Guelph Storm making a trade with the Brantford Bulldogs. Jet Luchenko, the Philadelphia Flyers first-rounder, traded from Guelph just days after the Memorial Cup announcement. You knew the Storm would want to remake their roster. They start quickly. George Burnett, the GM over there in Guelph, does so, trading Jet Luchenko to Brantford for Lane Gallagher and 4 draft picks coming back Guelph's way. So they're starting to look at things and plan things for next season when they'll host the Memorial Cup. There was also another deal announced yesterday. The Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds picking up Colin Fitzgerald from the Peterborough Petes. Colin Fitzgerald was the 3rd overall pick in the first round to the Petes last year. He's a Peterborough native, but things just weren't working out for him in Peterborough. So Fitzgerald, nice offensive piece for an already strong offensive team in the Sioux. He's now a Greyhound, and 6 draft picks go back the Peterborough Petes way in that deal for Colin Fitzgerald. And the Rangers, as I said, on the ice tonight against the Niagara Ice Dogs, who have lost 7 games in a row. Tonight's game, that big one tomorrow night in Brantford. Let's not look ahead, but we're going to look ahead a little bit. You'll get them both, of course, right here on your home of Kitchener Rangers hockey. For tonight's purposes, Josh Piercy and I will be on the air with the Harris Law pregame show starting at 6:30. Then we've got all of the action between the Rangers and the Ice Dogs. And right after the game, we stay late. It's a home game, and after every home game, it's Rangers talk. Josh and I will be there at the rink to do just that, talk about the Rangers with you. All of the coverage gets underway at 6:30 this evening right here on your home of Kitchener Rangers hockey. The Harris Law pregame show at 6:30 on 570 News Radio. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I mentioned how hot those Flint Firebirds are in the Ontario Hockey League. 10 straight wins. Yeah, well, the Cambridge Redhawks say, hey, Flint, hold my beer. 10 wins, that's all you can win in a row? Holy Hannah, the Redhawks have a GOHL record in their sights this weekend, and they're also going to have a teddy bear toss. Details coming up right here on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
The lamp is burning low upon my tabletop. The snow is softly falling. The air is still in the silence of my room. I hear your voice softly calling. If I could only have you near to breathe a sigh or two, I would be happy just to hold the hands I love on this winter night with you.
One of the best there ever was, Gordon Lightfoot. Little bit of Gord's Gold here on your All Request Friday Winter Songs edition. And our good friend M in Guelph, Farwell's Force member number 73, wanted to hear Song for a Winter's Night. So did Sue, Farwell's Force member number 4. So 2 people, same request. That just shows you how good it is. Song for a Winter's Night by Gordon Lightfoot. All Request Friday here on the show. It is the Winter Songs edition. We talk about baseball being the boys of summer. I guess that means that hockey is for the boys and girls of winter. And I don't know that there is a team anywhere playing as well as our boys in Cambridge. The Redhawks are off to a 23-0 start. 23-0, and they have a chance this weekend to set a new GOHL record. That record, by the way, held by the Kitchener Dutchman, 25 straight wins. Eric Boissonneau is the VP and Director of Operations with the Cambridge Redhawks. Joins us to talk about it. Eric, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Well, I'm fine, thank you. But you, sir, how the heck are you and those Redhawks?
I tell you, I woke up to this snow this morning and really didn't care about anything around me other than this weekend.
I'm not surprised. I'm really curious, as this streak goes on, how much do you think about it?
Well, I haven't had a haircut since the 15th game, so you do everything in your power to not jinx it, because having a hockey mind, that's what we do. We create things that don't really exist just to make us feel better.
I love that. So there's your superstition, right? Haven't had a haircut since game 15 of this streak.
That's it. It's getting really shaggy, and I don't like going out in public anymore just because, it looks really bad.
Okay, so the record in sight this weekend, but that's not all. I mean, it's a pretty big weekend for the Cambridge Redhawks, including the recognition of a couple of players who just received GOHL Player of the Month honors.
Yeah, Saturday is going to be an absolutely crazy night. Both Forrest and Gamage are getting honored by the league for their Player of the Month. Plus, it's our massive teddy bear toss, and you, who's been involved in hockey, knows how important that is to the community, but how much fun it is, too, when you score that first goal and all those teddy bears come raining down.
It's absolutely a lot of fun. It's a great tradition. They just got it started last week in the Ontario Hockey League as well. The Windsor Spitfires were the first team to have theirs, and they'll be happening right through this holiday season. The Redhawks now included in that, their game on Saturday night that you just mentioned. What would you say, Eric, has been the recipe for success so far this season? 23-0 out of the gates.
Well, there's two ingredients: commitment and attitude. Todd Bertuzzi's got his staff making the players believe in what they're doing. The players are leaving it out there every night. We've got injuries from blocking shots. We've got injuries from putting their bodies and physically challenging moments. And the next player just steps up and does the exact same thing. There's not a single player in that entire room that doubts what we're doing. And they'll play for one another. It's fun to see off the ice. That whole group just hangs out together all the time. It's a whole different feeling when you're in this position and you're able to do this together.
We talked just a moment ago about those players being recognized, Player of the Month honors. Alex Forrest, who, of course, Kitchener Rangers fans will know well. He's been up for a few games with the Rangers.
Yeah.
And Reed Gamage, who, just by the way, picked up enough points last weekend to have now 142 career, which is the leading scorer in Redhawks franchise history.
Yeah, pretty amazing considering some of the alumni we've had in our system. A lot of well-known players that have had great careers in the NHL. And here's Reed Gamage breaking those records.
Incredible stuff. Just speaks to the way the team has been going so far this year. I want to focus a little bit longer, if we can, on that Teddy Bear night on Saturday. What do you want from fans on Saturday night, Eric?
So Saturday, you simply bring a brand new teddy bear. You can pick them up everywhere. We'll have bags at the front lobby, or you can wrap it in a clear bag. The second our team scores their first goal, you find room and you whip it on the ice. We've got a new police car on display that'll drive out to center ice. The players will all go pick up all the teddy bears, put them there, and it's all going to the fire department's charity. So Cambridge Fire will be on site helping pick all this up, but it's about helping those who need the help at Christmas. Never mind the streak, which is a pretty cool thing, but giving back to the community is a part of who we are as a group, and this is a night where fans can show us they're part of this.
Speaking of that streak again for a moment, what kind of buzz has this started to create? I mean, every time I saw it on Hockey Night in Canada, and that was 2 weeks ago. I think you were at 18 or 19 games then. And I'm hearing from people, hey, Farwell, how about those Redhawks? Well, how about those Redhawks? What's the buzz been like?
Well, it's everywhere. I can't sit down in a restaurant or walk down the street without a fan recognizing my jacket, my sweater, my hat, whatever it is, and saying, hey, that's amazing. I've got clients I haven't spoken to in my other business. I haven't spoken to them in months, and they're calling me up just to say congratulations. And it's such a great feeling. The community's right behind us. We had 919 fans at our last game.
That's fantastic. I love to hear it. And sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Just on a side note, funny story about this streak. It's the Dutchman, but our director of hockey ops, Todd Hoffman, was the GM of those Dutchmen. He holds that record right now.
I was going to bring that up. I remember when he was there for that streak with the Dutchies, and here we are.
Yeah, Bertuzzi looked at him this week and he says, "You're going down, pal." It was a great moment.
Todd Hoffman, the good luck charm for record-setting streaks in the GO.
Apparently, I got to watch out next year. He's going to be stolen just for a new record.
Okay, I have to know one more thing before I let you go, and that is the haircut. If the streak reaches 26 and you have a new record, do you get it cut then, or do you only cut it if, and I'm saying if on purpose, the Redhawks lose?
So once I tie the record, I'm told that I have to get it cut because people don't want to look at me anymore.
I'm glad I'm only talking to you, Boissonneau, and not looking at you.
Yeah, exactly.
But kudos on all the success, and here's to a big weekend ahead. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thanks again, Mike. I love being on the show, and I love what you do for the community, so really appreciate it.
Appreciate you right back. We'll talk again soon.
All right, thanks.
Okay, Eric Boissonneau. You got to love it. You got to love the superstitions. He's not even on the ice, but he's not cutting his hair. 25 in a row is the streak. The Redhawks entering play this weekend with 23 straight wins. To start the season, no less, Eric Boissonneau, VP and Director of Operations with the Cambridge Redhawks. We're going to get you to the 570 News Center for an update. And then Fridays, not just game days, baby, but our Friday 4 roundtable, gathering round to talk about the big stories of the week. How about a little bit of reform to regional governance? How about a pipeline for Western Canada? Those conversations and more coming up here on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. It's windy, all right, blowing around all of that freshly fallen snow, all 3 feet of it, or something like that. As a former colleague once said, the snowbanks are 3 Farwells high, and they're getting there already on the first big dumping of the season. It's an all-request Friday, Winter Songs edition. And one of our Friday 4 roundtable guests wanted to hear the association and windy, and we wanted to make sure he heard it as he joins the show this morning. Philip Molto spent about 30 years in local broadcasting. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning. Great to be back. We've missed out on each other. It's me and Larry, or I'm away when you're in, and now sorry, your next hour of your life is going to be miserable. Sorry about that.
Listen, the emails I get from Grumpy Phil are among my favorite emails of the week. You already sent one this morning. You're fired up for the topics. I can't wait. So good to have you here. Marjorie
Good
Knight.
to be back.
Great to see you. Marjorie Knight is with us as well, family outreach worker with the House of Friendship. Good morning, Marjorie.
Good morning, Mike.
It's been a while since we've seen one another, too.
It's been a long time.
And
wow, I thought you'd stop wanting to see me.
Not at all. Always. I look forward to these conversations. I'm glad you're here. And I don't know, I think I might be getting sick of this next guy, though. John Hendry. I mean, it seems like every week you're popping up on this panel now.
I know. I'm thinking of applying for a job there.
It doesn't pay very well, Hendry, but we're happy to have you with us this morning.
Well, it's probably better what I'm getting.
John is a professional speaker, author, and retired public school board trustee. Sorry, Phil, did you say something?
No.
Okay, my apologies.
Taking my hat off. Unlike Marjorie, I can't wear a hat very long.
Me too.
Okay, let's dive in because we have many a big story to discuss, not the least of which is reporting from Louisa D'Amato in this week's Waterloo Region Record about potential changes coming to our regional governance structure. These changes likely to be in place before the next municipal election. And essentially, the provincial government is going to take the reins of our regional government. No more elected regional chair. It will be an appointed regional chair. No more elected regional councillors. Just the area mayors will sit on regional council. Phil, I'll start with you on your thoughts as to what's being proposed here.
I think my email took down the internet today when I saw that one. I was like, Yeah, I've got two very strong opinions on this. First of all, is the why does Doug Ford continue to meddle in municipal affairs? And historically, when you start taking away areas of where people have voted and stuff, and historically and for decades, generations, centuries, we've seen that's a bad trend when somebody starts overriding somebody else's democracy. We vote for our local politicians. Don't take that right away from us. Sends a very dangerous trend. And also, he's the provincial premier. Why does he insist? I mean, in getting involved in roads, municipalities, school boards? Just stick to the provincial agenda. Let us run our municipalities. And as I said in my email, if Carney had said it's time for the PM to start appointing the premiers of the provinces and not letting them elect, Team Ford would just go ballistic on the internet. So let's stick with local democracy. The other point is this, and for a long time I said I'm a big supporter of single tier in this region. It's grown to the point where we do need an elected tier, and if we don't do it soon, and I've said it before, it will be forced on us. So let's do it within our local jurisdiction. Let's do it properly within the region of Waterloo. And as far as should it be mayors? I think we need councillors, but instead of having a Ward 10, a Ward 5, I always forget what ward I'm in, depending on which level it is. Let's make it Kitchener East, Kitchener West, Hespeler. Give each of the original Cambridge, give them actual names again. Let it be the councillor for Hespeler, the councillor for Galt. Let's give them that identity. Stand in Waterloo East, West. Come up with 10 councillors, give them actual names that actually relate to the areas. You're the councillor for Stanley Park, you're the councillor for Forsyth, give them actual names that identify. So let's maintain our local integrity, let's maintain our local democracy. And Doug, please tell your ministers to stop traveling the world and just stay in Queen's Park and do your provincial job.
I like your optimism, Phil, that we should do something here for ourselves before the province does it for us. But I think that ship has sailed. I think this is happening, and it's our own fault for not getting something done prior to this. But we'll see what happens. Marjorie, what are your thoughts on the rumblings we're hearing from Doug Ford and Queen's Park?
I have to wonder what his end game is. I really have to wonder what his end game is. This is a slap to democracy everywhere. If you tell me that we didn't do it, so he needed to do it, then he would have made us become a single tier. What does it mean to take away all the elected officials? What does it mean for him to appoint people? This is all about control. This is all about what he can do. And we know what he can do. He can take away our wonderful public lands and give it to Thermi for some sketchy spa. He can close down the science center and do what he wants to do. He can take the millions out of the skilled trades program and give it to his stripper friends. He can do whatever he wants. Once he has an appointee in there, make no mistake, the appointee isn't anybody for us. It's access for him and his people. What does that person know about the local politics? What do they know about the local communities, what the needs are, what the wants are? All this careful planning that we have done to make sure that we have a balance, that we grow our cities in the right way, that we save our green space, let me not get into the green space because we know what happened last time, right? What happens when he puts all his appointees in place? When he has control of the school board, when he has control of the region, when he has control of the conservancy areas, what happens then? Then we have no say in anything. And if he decides he wants something and somebody can pay to play and get it, we are screwed. We are done.
I love your point.
I really wish I knew what the end game was supposed to be, because this is not good.
I'll start there then, because I liked that earlier when you said, what's the end game? I've heard it described before as Doug Ford wanting to be the mayor of Ontario instead of the premier. And there's something to that. I think that still rings true in this regard. And your point about an appointed regional chair being Doug Ford's person, absolutely. Could not agree more. We should be very concerned about that.
John, but Mike, we've also seen what happens with strong mayor powers.
Oh, have we ever?
Especially in Cambridge.
You betcha.
Look at the disaster this has become. And now you're going to take that strong mayor and say, oh, hey, Now you get a say over the whole. Oh my God, save me now.
All right, John Hendry, can you save Marjorie at all? What's your take on the rumblings?
I don't think so. Excuse me. I've never supported the appointee. I think provincial appointees on commissions, good idea, because you can't elect them, obviously. But an appointee, mayor, not mayor, but a regional chairman, whatever, I think that's a bad idea. Like Marjorie says, it's a hand-picked, and I know from experience, there are always political choices. There are no best person for the job. So I don't agree with that. I must admit, for years, I've always wondered, what does a councillor do? I mean, a regional councillor, I'm not really sure what they do. So for them to disappear, I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of difficulty with that. I think city councillors are extremely important because what they do is the same thing school board trustees did way back. And just as an aside, Mike, part of that story was with trustees. And I think you're going to find that with the next election, they will disappear as well. But there's a little different tone to that because over the years, you can't blame it on the Conservatives. Successive governments, starting with the NDPs, the Liberals, and the Conservatives, have all eroded the powers of trustees. And with our local board and the Toronto board, I can tell you, they've been in a self-destruct mode for the last few years. And I remember Kathleen Wynne, when she was the education minister, she had given a warning to school boards that, look, stay in your lane, focus on what your job is, or you're going to be eliminated. And obviously they didn't listen. And so I can see school boards disappearing. I think they've got so little power now that they're, to me, and it's an opinion, of course, they're a highly paid school councilman. And so I can see that coming. But for appointees, for regional government, no. I think it's got to be elected by the people who they serve. And I mean, democracy it is gone if you can't elect the people.
Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, before I know I could see the clock going down to the commercial break coming up here. But I say let's rebuild our local municipal government. I mean, we've got part-time counselors for this and that. Let's give them a proper wage, full-time counselors to do the job right. So we can address things like today, people are complaining about snow removal because it's different tiers for different areas. The bike lanes, the roundabouts, we've got 3 or 4 different plans all combating each other. Let's come up with one local plan driven by the community, and let's vote for all those officials and make them professional officials, not part-time people. This is a huge region to run. Let's do it properly with the right people and let us control it, not Doug's personal friends.
Again, I wish we could, Phil. I think we missed our chance. I'm really upset about it, but I'll leave it there because I want to hear from the three of you as much as possible today. I love that idea. People have been advocating for that idea for decades in this community, and we never got it done. And now we're going to get what we get, and we won't get upset. Or maybe we will. Phil Molto, Marjorie Knight, John Hendry with us on the Friday 4 Roundtable this morning. There's a pipeline, at least the framework of a deal for a pipeline out west. Good move by the Carney government. We'll talk about it with our roundtable as we continue the Friday 4 on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Is it a Christmas song or a winter song? I'm not going to wade into that debate. I'm not. But Mike wanted to hear some Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC on this All Request Friday Winter Songs edition. Our Friday 4 Roundtable this morning, we have with us Marjorie Knight, John Hendry, Phil Molto. Let's talk pipelines. Marjorie, you get first crack at this one. The Memorandum of Understanding was signed yesterday. Sounds to me like there are still hurdles to clear, but what do you think of the idea, at least in framework of a pipeline out west?
Well, it's saying that they're doing an MOU that commits them to working towards building an oil pipeline to the West Coast, which goes to another province. I just thought that was the most interesting part. There wasn't a two province and Ottawa agreement. There was a one province, and the pipeline has to go through British Columbia. I love every time when they say that there are going to be great opportunities for Indigenous co-ownership and shared economic benefits. Man, how many times have we heard that? And how many times has it not happened? How many communities still don't have clean drinking water? How many still have no housing? It goes on and on and on. It somehow never works out for them. And there is adamant pushback to this plan happening on the side of BC. It cannot happen without BC. It cannot happen without them. So several Indigenous groups are out there. What's going to happen to the coastline? We know it's notorious for causing problems and environmental disasters. And we all remember how many dead fish and dead birds and dead everything. And BC depends on its coastline for a lot of its money. Has a lot of projects out there. A lot of Indigenous lands are out there. I'm not sure how that's going to go. You can have an MOU with Calgary. You can have all the MOUs you want. If BC is not on side, you're going to have a problem. But I do like that dear Danielle has agreed to a carbon plan. I thought that was very interesting. Just saying it.
$400 a ton. $400 a ton would be the price. John Hendry, thoughts on the pipeline out west?
Well, I guess I have a different spin on this one as well. I think it's a great idea. Number one, if people really paid attention to the announcement and the speeches, the agreement had to be made in Alberta first. You're dealing with Alberta's oil. And so that had to be done first. The Indigenous people are on board in Alberta. They are ready to sign an agreement that would be a revenue sharing agreement. So I think that part's a lockdown. BC, now, there's a lot to be done there. That's pretty obvious. It has to be negotiated, and Carney's already said that the deal is not done. He made that very clear. It has to include British Columbia, and it has to include the Indigenous groups. I think the big picture here is that this is the best thing for Canada. We have to start relying on Canada, not on the US. And this would literally put one more nail in Trump's coffin, because what it's going to do is it's going to give us free access to the Asian market. And that's a humongous market. And I think it would be great for all Canadian provinces. Unfortunately, oil is in Alberta and it has to move west. But I think it's a great deal. I think it's a great opportunity for Canadians. I think it's going to put a lot of people at work. And all of the environmental studies have to be done yet. And I think they've acknowledged that. They've acknowledged the fact that the Indigenous groups have got to be on board. They have to play a very important part of this. And I think it's important, and Marjorie touched on some of the things that the Indigenous groups have been lacking is purely because they don't have the money, they don't have the resources, and they don't have the freedom to do their own thing. And I think hopefully this type of agreement will provide them with the money and the funds that they can do these things, get the proper drinking water, get the proper roads. And so I think it's a good thing for Canada.
This is not the money that's not there for Indigenous people. This is the failure of the federal government to do what it said it would do. It's not that Indigenous groups don't have money to get safe drinking water. We have safe drinking water. And it's not because we have the money to do it. It's because it is provided for us, because that is what government does. Please don't get me going on my box today.
All right.
Me neither.
That
Margaret,
is just
not.
not.
I disagree with you vehemently. But anyway.
Okay. Phil, you get your thoughts on the pipeline here. We got about 90 seconds.
I'm going to get Marjorie fired up more and talk about colonialism in the 16th century. But seriously, when we were New France. The colony was not allowed to do that. You shipped all your raw materials back to France. They shipped you, finished products. Isn't that what we're doing now? Let's ship our aluminum to the States. Let's ship our oil overseas. Why don't we make something with our natural resources? That's like grade 10, grade 11 history class. Don't be a colony. Actually do something with the raw materials that you have. But we're so bent on trying to send all our resources overseas. How come we're not creating jobs here, making stuff with those resources? Why are we so eager to just ship that stuff overseas? And as far as the shipping routes, very interesting, the information about the shipping routes through interior of British Columbia. Some of those shoals and stuff are extremely dangerous. So I want to see real information about what's safe, what's not. You just can't look and say, there's open water, let's go, because as a boater, I've seen some people hit shoals that I didn't know it was there. So let's do the environmentally, safety things properly on those shipping routes. Let's not have another Exxon Valdez.
There's a memorandum, but we're a long way from a pipeline, and there are obstacles still in front of us. Phil Molto, Marjorie Knight, John Hendry with us on the Friday 4 roundtable this morning. An update from the 570 News Center, and then let's make sure no provincial funding gets to those radical left-wing charities in this province. Oh, Nelly, the Premier's on fire this week. And so is our roundtable on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Well, it's an interesting request from John, who wondered if you play Edgar Winter's song Winter, does that count as 2 requests on an All Request Friday Winter Song edition? Clever you are, John. Clever you are. That's Edgar Winter and Winter on this All Request Friday on the Mike Farwell Show.
They only come out at night. That was the album.
Clever.
I'm
sorry.
Winter, they only...
I like it. I thought you meant clever people like that, like John, only come out at night. That's Phil Molto, who's with us on our Friday 4 roundtable this morning. Phil worked at the venerable CKCO TV. I'm still going to call it that because that's what we called it when you were there, Philip, for many a decade. Marjorie Knight is with us as well, family outreach worker with the House of Friendship. And John Hendry is an author, a public speaker, and a retired public school board trustee. These are our panelists on the Friday 4 roundtable this morning, talking about the big stories of the week. And John Hendry, you get first crack at this beauty because Doug Ford was in fine form this week. Our premier snapping back at a heckler at the legislature, telling him to go get a job. He doubled down on it later, saying these people with ACORN, the housing rights group in the province, are professional protesters. They get paid. And in response to that, Doug Ford says, listen, these so-called charitable organizations that are funneling money to these left-wing radical groups like ACORN, I suppose, aren't going to get another nickel from the province. What do you make of this, John? Shutting down those left-wing radicals, making sure they get no provincial money.
I guess I'm having a hard time understanding where the controversy is, simply because it should be an internal thing. I mean, let's face it, the provincial government issued the corporation status for charitable organizations, and all charitable organizations are so heavily regulated and audited that I don't know where the issue is. If there's an issue, it's perhaps because the provincial people are not doing their job properly and not vetting these things. I just can't see where the issue is for people outside of the government. I think this is something that should have been dealt with, or should be dealt with on an ongoing basis, like they do with every other charitable organization.
So there hasn't been enough oversight to this point?
I would think so. I mean, I can see being involved in the past with several different charities. They're audited and they're so heavily regulated that you have to have all the I's dotted and the T's crossed, and they check your funding. So I think it's an internal issue. If they're not checking these things like they're supposed to be, then these issues are going to come up.
Maybe a little bit of grandstanding on the part of the Premier, because the direct quote, speaking of audits, is we will be auditing all these so-called charitable organizations that are funneling money. Just stay tuned on that one. Phil Molto?
Well, he was on a roll.
He was on a roll.
A few thoughts on this. First of all, protesting in either a council chamber, the chair of legislature, or House of Commons to me is completely wrong. I had no situation. If I was sitting there and up the gallery watching and I got kicked out because of protesters, that is not the place for it. As remember, former MP Mike Morris, you referred to him as the adult in the room. We need more of that in the legislature, council, and the House of Commons especially. We don't need people protesting and totally disrupting the day. Others thought, Doug Ford, if you're not with me, you're against me. You know, if you don't agree with me, he does that. He almost, it's like south of the border, the labeling of you're this, you're that. It's like, you know what? Somebody disagrees with you. Do your election thing. Go sit and have a coffee with them in a coffee shop and show them how well you can relate to everybody in Ontario, not just your supporters. So it looked really bad on the premier. It looked bad on our democracy when people take over a House of Commons or the legislature with a protest.
Marjorie, what are your thoughts?
Oh, boy.
Marjorie has to laugh first so she can lower her blood pressure. I've got her so fired up with these topics today.
You know, it was, you know, get a job is not the big shot you thought it was, Doug, because getting a job doesn't guarantee you to be able to afford housing or even put food on the table. So yelling at somebody to get a job, that doesn't really mean much in today's world, because you can't make it on the jobs that are available. I don't think Doug recognizes that, though, because he's never had to deal with that. And some of the left wing, and yeah, you know, we can talk about protesting in there and how wrong it is or how right it is, or whether it's your right, it's not your right. Acorn has done a lot of really good things for people who have been facing evictions, illegal evictions, rent evictions. They stand up on the side of the people who are most vulnerable, who need housing. Does that make them left-wing? Okay, call them left-wing, but they do a job and they do it well. You may not agree with everything that they do. That's part of life. But they fulfill a need in the community to help people. If because he disagrees with what they did there, you're going to take away money from people who fund them or help them to do their job, then I got a problem with you. I really do. Because that means anybody who disagrees with you is some nefarious left-wing woke group of people, and so they deserve to be just stomped on and sent on their way and receive no money. But you know what? The poor and the vulnerable people out there need those people to help them. And if you want any help to be out there, you can't be taking that kind of attitude. And honestly, every time I hear him tell somebody to get a job, I often wonder if he understands what that means to people. Because me, I have a good job. I work as a family outreach worker. If tomorrow my landlord sold this house and I was told I couldn't live here anymore, I would be homeless because I can't afford the rents that are out there. So, you know, before you get on a high horse and do all these kinds of things, settle down, Doug. Settle down. That's all I can say.
I like the point, and I think it's worth extending just a little bit. If you're not with me, you're against me. So it's really good to be Doug Ford's family dentist right now, right? Because clearly with $20,000 in donations to the Conservative Party, and all of a sudden the dentist benefits from the old Skills Development Slush Fund. This is the fund that keeps on giving, doesn't it?
It does. It really, really does. And meanwhile, all these people that are going to suffer from these bills that he's passing now, they won't have anybody to give them $20,000. They won't have anybody to help them on it. All they will have is us little left-wing people.
All you left-wing radicals. Phil, go ahead.
Just two quick thoughts here. First of all, you know, the comment, get a job, people look at Doug and say, Doug, you worked for your dad's business and then your brother helped you get into politics. You've never had a cold call with a resume for a job and be number 2 or 3 or 5 on the list. You don't know what that's like to try and go and get a job. That's totally new for you. And the audit people are saying, well, let's audit everybody that you know, all your supporters. Let's see a real audit of all your, all the finances, because a lot of people would like to see that, because every time it comes up, it sort of disappears. It's a headline, then it disappears. So people are calling for two things. First of all, Doug, let's see you sit through a job interview, as a 19-year-old shaking with your resume, and let's see all your audit of all your supporters. So some interesting comments that have been flying around the world of social media this week.
It's quite the world on social media and at Queen's Park this week, because, again, Doug Ford was on quite the roll. John Hendry, Phil Molto, and Marjorie Knight are with us around the Friday 4 roundtable this morning. A quick break, and coming back, we'll talk about keeping kids safe from online harms. The countdown is on, asking the federal government to enact online safety legislation. We'll talk about it coming up on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. To hear a little bit of Smiling in Winter by the Spoons on this All Request Friday, Winter Songs edition. Every Friday on the show is an All Request. We make a theme out of it, and given the wicked weather, it is a winter theme today. Something else we do every Friday between 11 and noon, we talk about the week's big stories with some guests around our Friday 4 roundtable. With us this morning, Phil Molto, Marjorie Knight, and John Hendry. Let's dive into the online world and how dangerous many say it is for our kids. Children First Canada has begun a countdown. It started last Thursday on National Child's Day. It had 40 days on it then, so we're down to just over 30 days now till the end of the year, by which time Children First Canada would like to see the federal government enact online safety legislation. Phil Molto, I'll start with you on this one. What can we do to protect our kids from these online harms?
This is one of those topics where I wish I could just step up and I got the big line, the big bring it all home, but I just don't, because, I'm 62. I grew up, there was, kids were bullied all my life for different reasons, from when you're a child through, puberty, through teenage, the working world. It's always been there, and things changed. There was no internet when the internet came out, and then different ways of accessing and bullying and stuff. And it's always changing. And, as you know, Mike, in the news world, how many stories have we done over the years, over the decades about bullying and online and how to safeguard your kids? A year later, the technology, the access changes. We didn't have, before it was just a computer at a desk because you could monitor what a child was doing. Now then it went laptops. Now they've got phones. You can't, it's so hard to monitor what your kids are doing or who they're sitting with, and they're using somebody else's phone. So it's so hard to monitor, control, and actually address the problem, because the problem changes every day.
Marjorie, what do you make of the challenges kids are facing online and the challenges we as adults are facing in legislating all of it?
One of the things that I have a 6-year-old granddaughter, and loves gaming on the computer. She's always on there doing games I don't even know the names of. But I remember somebody coming up to me and goes, "Oh, does your daughter? Hey, there's this really great game that she can play." So I go to my daughter and I said, "Hey, what's this Roblox? Does JJ get to play that?" She's like, "Nope, will not." And I'm like, "Why?" She goes, "Because people have access to your children when they play that game, and you don't know who is able to contact your child and speak to your child and send messages to your child when they're on that game." And that is something that, kind of blew my mind. I mean, when my kids were younger and they were going on, I could see who they were talking to and what they were doing. And yes, I put on security features so that they couldn't do much. I was not popular for that. But now it's even more important to be able to do these security features. And how many parents aren't even aware of them or don't know how to set them up or are illiterate, basically computer illiterate, because they didn't grow up with it or they didn't have it. And so they don't even know what they need to do to help these children. I don't know if the government is able to do something, but if they can, they should, because the technology changes so fast that it's hard for us to keep up with it. If my granddaughter came to me today and she says, "Oh yeah, I always play this game," I don't know any different. And I don't know who she's having access or who has access to her when she's on that. There are some really big issues in this when you read it and you look at it, and I recognize that, yes, something needs to be done because it's way out of hand. One child killing themselves over this is one child too many. And the exploitation and sexploitation and all these things that are happening, the trafficking that is happening in our area. Even if you look in our area, it's a lot of trafficking going on in our area, and a lot of it starts there on the internet. So we better start looking to how we're going to do something, and maybe it is time that the government stepped in.
One child dying from this is one child too many. It's worth noting that among the board members with Children First Canada is the mother of a young girl in British Columbia who died by suicide after being relentlessly bullied online. And I think your question is a good one, Marjorie. You don't know, like I don't know. I'm not sure any of us know what a government can do, but we're looking for them to do something. And Children First Canada has pointed to legislation, Australia, some European nations where there have been measures implemented, and why couldn't we just use those as a starting point here? John Hendry, I'll bring it over to you.
Look, my personal opinion is I find the whole concept of the internet and online things to be a cancer. I think the children today are collateral damage of our online learning. It's depressing. As Marjorie says, you don't know who's in the background of these things. And I think children and seniors are particularly at risk. I'm not sure if the government can do anything. Like I say, I think the horse has already left the barn. But they could do something. I think increasing penalties when people are caught. But you know what? A lot of this comes down to parental control. I think if parents spend more time with their children, counsel them a little bit more on the parameters that they should be using, they should be monitoring what they're doing, who they're online with, all of these things. But unless you're active and you're doing these things, bullying is going to happen. The sexual predators are going to be able to attack children. But like I say, I think, although there are so many good things about technology, the one thing that is, to me, has been really negative is the fact that we no longer have control of who is approaching our children. You know, remember the old days when you were young and you come home from school, what did you do? You go in, you threw your old clothes on, you went outside, you played with your friends. Now what do? They go home, they throw off their clothes, they go in and they close the door and they start playing video games, or they start playing other games. They do online chatting, and who knows who they're talking to. So I think we all, as a community, have to find ways to control this. We can't just depend on the government, because it's not going to happen.
I think you touch on something there, John, when you talk about penalties that would be associated with negative outcomes, for example, because I used to think this started and stopped in the home with parents. But boy, oh boy, the more that you learn with the algorithms and content that gets curated and basically pushed to your children's phones and computers, I can't just hold parents solely responsible on this anymore. Big tech is big nasty. And boy, oh boy, something's got to happen there as far as I'm concerned. And you're right. I think that barn door is so wide open. I don't know where you start reining them back in, but goodness gracious, big tech owes an awful lot to us as people for what they've profited from.
You simply can't be with your children all the time. I mean, it's virtually impossible. And I think the penalties should be extremely stiff because I have a granddaughter that's been bullied online, and it's not a good thing. I mean, it impacts everyone around them, and it's unfortunate they talk about suicide, but there's all sorts of other fallout to it as well. They withdraw, they don't like to go out anymore, they don't like to be with friends, they don't know who to trust. I mean, it's a terrible thing, but unfortunately parents can't be with them 100% of the time.
And the tech companies know this too. Quickly, Phil, final 45 seconds.
When we were younger, was don't go looking for trouble. The sad part is now trouble is looking for them. Before, don't go downtown, you know what you're going to get into. Downtown is now coming to your phone and your child's. They hit something, they hit a search, that keyword pumps through to somebody else. You don't even know. It's like, John, they go into the room. You don't know who's followed them into that room via the internet because you don't see them. Years ago, you found trouble. Now trouble is looking for you. It's a sad thing to try and monitor, and almost impossible.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And we'll have to leave it there because we are fresh out of time. Very grateful for your time today, Phil Molto, former CKCO TV employee, Marjorie Knight, family outreach worker with the House of Friendship, and John Hendry, a retired public school board trustee. Thank you all for being here this morning.
Turn your headlights on, people.
Thanks, Mike. See you tonight, I hope.
I look forward to it, John. We'll see you at the rink.
Stay safe out there.
It's our Friday 4 Roundtable. Free Phones Friday coming up, where you get to weigh in on the issues of the day. How's that winter storm working out for you? This is the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
What's up, man? Hey, yo, what's going on, yo? I'm sick and tired of 5-0 running up on the block, you know what I'm saying? Yo, Snow, they came around looking for you the other day. Word, bust it.
There you go. A little bit of Snow, as in the artist, and that is Informer on this All Request Friday, Winter Songs edition. I don't know that it could be any more appropriate than an artist named Snow. It is Friday afternoon, just past the update from the 570 News Center, and you know what that means, our final hour together of the week. And we like to celebrate that hour together by opening our phone lines so that you have direct access to us and you can let us know your thoughts on the issues of the day or an issue you would like to make the issue of the day. 519-570-2545, star 570, 1-800-570-5715. Sean gets right to the point, although I think he missed the point. I love the subject line to this email written to Mike at 570news.com. Doug Ford sucks. And then the body of the email says, you're embarrassing yourself on your show right now by praising Doug Ford. He was not on a roll. He's the same old buck of beer, tunnel highways idiot. Great points, Sean, except maybe you missed the sarcasm when we were talking about the role that Doug Ford was on. I mean, he did snap back at a heckler at Queen's Park, told him to go get a job, and then doubled down on it afterwards, saying, this person doesn't have a job. This person's job is a professional protester. I've been dealing with them since I was in Toronto City Hall. It was dripping with sarcasm that you must have missed, Sean, but that's okay. It happens. Things can be misinterpreted, but thanks for playing along anyway. It gets even worse, too, for Doug Ford. I mean, beyond the telling a protester who he believes to be a professional paid protester to get a job, we've got the skills development slush fund, you might call it, that turns out to be the gift that keeps on giving for the opposition parties at Queen's Park and really any critics of the Ontario government, the progressive Conservatives right now, because there have been calls for the minister overseeing the fund, David Piccini, the Labour minister, to step down in the wake of this multi-billion-dollar fund and the number of revelations that have been attached to that fund and where the money is going, including, I mean, it all started with a Parisian wedding for the minister himself, which he says he paid for. Then there were the allegations that some of the money, millions of dollars, went to the operators of an adult entertainment establishment. I'll just put it that way. I think that one was sensationalized for effect, but the money trail existed. And then the latest coming out just yesterday that it's good to be the Ford family dentist. This is what opposition leader of the NDP, Marit Stiles, had to say.
You're not going to believe this. Today, a news story broke that Doug Ford's family dentist got over $2 million from the Skills Development Fund. Now, Doug Ford was asked about this story today, and he made it sound like he doesn't know this guy. But get this. The clinic's website literally brags that you can, and I'm going to quote them here, feel as comfortable as the Ford family has during their visits with us. Like, they're advertising it. And since 2022, he's actually donated over $20,000 to the Progressive Conservative Party of Ontario. And guess what? Then his clinic gets more than $2 million from a fund that is supposed to help create jobs and train workers. That money belongs to regular, hardworking Ontarians, and that's not how we do business.
Well, it seems to be at least part of the way we're doing business in Ontario right now. So we've got Doug Ford having himself a week. He's on a roll, I say sarcastically, just in case the sarcasm wasn't picked up on. And then we've got our own issues here in the region, don't we? What a day on the roads. What a day for us shoveling snow, trying to clear out. We had more than 20 centimeters, and it's still coming down. We're not going to be out of this system until Sunday, so there's more to come. If the plow's been by your place and you tried to get through that at the end of the driveway, my sympathies go out to you as I sit comfortably here in my studio, but my goodness gracious, what an absolute pounding of snow, and it's not even December yet. But this is exactly what the forecast called for. So do take care out there and make sure when you are out there or planning to head out there, you take the time to clear the snow off your car. There is precisely zero excuse for not cleaning off every window on your vehicle. Yes, even the passenger and driver side rear windows, and then the rear window itself, the windshield, the headlights. Clean off that roof. If you can't reach the roof, buy a smaller vehicle or get an Extend-A-Brush, carry a stool with you. I don't care how you do it. Please. There's a picture on our Facebook page today, facebook.com/The Mike Farwell Show. We came across a driver last night who clearly missed the memo on the roads, and all that had been cleared was what the windshield wipers could move off the front window. And I suspect just rolled down the driver's side window. So about half of it, maybe 2/3 of it was cleared. The rest of the snow still sitting on there, and that was it. Side windows covered, roof covered, hood covered, headlights covered, everything except for those two little spots. You are a menace on the road if you do that. I want speed cameras back, and I want them to become snow cameras, because behavior like that needs to be dealt with. My gosh, I know it's no good. It absolutely sucks cleaning off your car. I get it, but it's so dangerous to not do that. Don't be that person, please. It's the first snowfall of the season, significant one anyway. You can't possibly be tired of cleaning off your car already. Let's do better. And let's go to the phones here on Free Phones Friday and hear from Sean. Hello, Sean.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Interesting stuff about Doug Ford there. Anyway, I was listening to your radio station when I was out shoveling snow, and I did clean my car off. I even sent you a picture to prove it.
You did it. Well, very nice job.
Even did the roof. I'm short, but I got one of those long brushes from Canadian Tire. Anyway, you had an ad from, I think it's from the Teachers Federation. They're talking about destroying our local democracy with getting rid of the local school boards. And I only wish that was true. From what I've seen of the school boards, if you disagree with them, they shut you down. They seem to be more about people having their little political games. they don't seem to talk about the kids. They have these little political stances. If you don't agree with them, they shut you down. And I really like to know where they think they're representing the average person, quite frankly.
Sean, it's an excellent question. I am on record and have been for a while as saying that I don't think we need school boards of trustees anymore. I think they're well past their best before date. We heard John Hendry during our Friday 4 roundtable this morning. He himself, a retired school board trustee, and he talked about successive governments, not just this current government, but the previous Liberal government, the NDP government before that, slowly chipping away at, eroding any power that school board trustees really had. And there's so little left. This is such a toothless level of political bureaucracy. I think two things about the school system in this province. One is we should eradicate, wipe out completely, obliterate boards of trustees, utterly useless. That's not a condemnation of the people who are on those boards. I'm sure they're lovely people trying to do their very best. But the boards themselves just don't serve a purpose, in my opinion. And the other thing I think we need to do when it comes to education in this province is have a single publicly funded school system. French, English. Come on with your coming on in almost 2026, right? To Sean's specific point, clearly he's following the news and has become aware after 3 years, our public school board has finally made public the Integrity Commissioner's report into allegations against public school board trustee Mike Ramsey that he was disruptive and he broke code of conduct. And all it turned out to be when all the dust settled is that Mike Ramsey shared a contrarian opinion. Simple as that. And I know there are all kinds of rules around trustee codes of conduct and counselor codes of conduct, et cetera, about not publicly undermining a decision of the board, which I worry a little bit about. I'm there as my voice. I'm there as my own representative. I ran for a reason. I should be able to speak my mind on issues, whether it goes the board's way or not. But this was really just infighting, and our public school board has been famous for that for, almost 8 years now? It's just not getting any work done. The focus should be on the betterment of the system for our kids. You wonder why the provincial education ministry is taking a look at eliminating boards of trustees. You have little petty squabbles like that, and that would probably tell you why. Jane is with us on the phone. Good morning, or good afternoon, Jane.
Oh, hi there. It doesn't matter. Tell me if my radio is bothering you. A couple of things. I think that in terms of the trustees, but who's accountable to the directors? Because the directors run very rogue at times, and everything rots from the fish's head, as so to speak. And if your trustees aren't holding your director accountable, who is? And the other point or thought for me is, and I'm just trying to be careful here, is that our boards, whether there's trustees or not, are just following the restrictions and constraints that our ministry provides them around almost everything, and it becomes a game of supporting the ministry and looking good in the ministry's eyes, and the children get left out.
I think that's an excellent point, Jane, and I appreciate the phone call, and that goes back to my point about the rather toothless nature politically of this particular level of bureaucracy. All that school boards can do is follow the bidding of the province. That's where the curriculum is set, all of this stuff. Essentially, the Board of Trustees submits a budget annually. And you want to get into the weeds of that. You talk about the director. How about this current public school board that made a horrendous hire, got sucked in by something, somehow, somewhere, and I don't even want to fathom to guess how much money. It's got to be at least $1 million whizzed away on the former director of education at our public school board, who's now been dismissed. It happened very quickly, very quietly, We don't know how much it cost overall, but like I said, when you figure the money that he was paid for doing what, I don't think anybody is sure, but it looked like trying to build his own platform as an education advocate or reformist, but doing anything meaningful for children in our public school system? Don't think so. There's been an exodus of students from our public school system and an increase in the Catholic system. Wonder why that happened. And who's accountable for that? Well, one of the jobs that trustees do is make that hiring decision. They should be held to account for that very poor decision and the at least $1 million that it cost us, in my opinion. It's Free Phones Friday on the Mike Farwell Show. We do it noon to 1 every Friday. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Frosty the snowman was a happy, jolly soul with a corncob pipe and a button nose and 2 eyes made out of coal.
I am not that guy today. The jolly, happy soul has left the building. But Marianne wanted to hear Frosty the Snowman. Well, has the jolly, happy guy ever been in the building? You can be the judge of that. It's an all-request Friday, Winter Songs edition, and Marianne's request was for Frosty the Snowman, that jolly, happy soul. Free Phones Friday makes me happy because it allows you the opportunity to talk about the issues of the day, the issues of the week. This is our final 60 minutes together before the weekend when we have to take 48 hours off from our conversations. So let's get right back to the phones. Joe, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mike. Mike, say it isn't so. Tell me it's not so. My goodness, Mike, Stephen Guilbeault resigned from Parliament.
You know what?
It's unimaginable.
But, you know, I'm going to say this, Joe. It's honorable. He didn't cross the floor.
Well, that's too bad because then we'd be back to even.
Well, he's taking a principled stand. Agree or not, disagree, but at least he's being principled about it.
Well, it had to happen because, like, he's talking out of the side of his mouth while Carney's going, hey, we're going to build Canada. We're going to put a pipeline in. And Guilbeault is still talking about, like, its personal mission to bomb the oil field. Like, come on, man. Like, it had to happen. And this guy is the most inept, tone-deaf guy, but the Liberals gave him a job. And Trudeau allowed him to run wild, take pot shots at Alberta and Denny. Thing for the Liberal Party going forward to get rid of this clown.
All right, Joe. Maybe he just got rid of himself. We talked about the pipeline earlier today on the show, and we talked about the hurdles that were in the way. Maybe Stephen Guilbeault, the private citizen, will be one of those hurdles. As I said, you got to admit there's honor in that. You didn't cross the floor. You just said, on principle, I can't abide by what this government is doing. I resign. Fair enough. John from Hespeler. Hespeler, Johnny got to be.
Well, it's formerly known as Hespeler. Now it is Johnny Galt, Michael.
Johnny Galt. Okay. Well, my screen says John from Hespeler, so we're going to have to update that.
I got a quick question for you. I picked a real bad time to get my snowblower in for the repairs. And is it too early for Farwell for hire? Because my driveway is a mess.
Listen, there's a reason Farwell for hire happens in the spring, okay? Because I got no time for this nonsense, my friend. Thanks, John. You too. Johnny Galt. Yes, you're right. It is a bad time for the snowblower to be in for what? Repair? I think you're Johnny Galt, I'm not holding you to account for that. I'm not. It's November the 28th. This would be about the appropriate time in the historical context to get your snowblower in for a tune-up because you want to have it ready for the winter, which this is not yet. Winter, last time I checked, does not arrive until December the 21st. I know that we knew this storm was coming because our forecasters pegged it perfectly. But this is about the right time of year to go and get your snowblower tuned up and ready to go. Get your winter tires on in October would be my advice. And yes, get your winter tires on, period. But get them on in October, right? Once it gets below 7 degrees Celsius, that's time for winter tires. And then your snowblower tune up, ready for the season. November seems fine to me, except this year. Holy Hannah with this winter wallop. Phone lines remain open to you. It is your Free Phones Friday, noon to 1 here on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
July the 2nd, it was 1963. I was serving time for armed robbery. 4 o'clock in the morning, I was laying back in my cell. I heard the whistle blow, then I heard somebody yell.
Yeah, it's a riot in cell block 9, Johnny Winter. By request on this All Request Friday, Winter Songs edition. Mark wanted to hear that one. That's the kind of clever request for a winter-themed All Request Friday. We made it a winter-themed All Request Friday because, of course, it's winter outside in a very big way. Johnny Winter certainly qualifies. We were able to tell you way back near the beginning of the show today about our latest winner in the 570 News Radio Tree of Hope 50/50 raffle in support of Family and Children's Services Foundation. Congratulations once again to Doug Neely of Kitchener, who took home 2 tickets to see the Jonas Brothers in Hamilton on December the 14th and $1,000 in cash. All Doug had to do in order to win that prize was go to FACS5050.com and buy his ticket. And he bought it early enough that he was entered in that early bird draw that we made at 8 this morning. So congratulations again to Doug Neely of Kitchener, our latest early bird winner. And Doug remains in the draw, which has a guaranteed minimum jackpot of $50,000. I know you want to be like Doug, so you can get your tickets right now at FACS5050.com. As I welcome to the program Carol Kamalo, who's the annual giving manager with the Family and Children's Services Waterloo Region Foundation. Carol, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. It snowed in today, but okay.
Listen, you're not the only one, Carol, but this is the beauty of technology. We make a little phone call and we're all connected. And snowed in or not snowed in, boy, this has got to be an exciting time for Family and Children's Services Waterloo Region. We watch a 50/50 jackpot grow. We get to give away cool early bird prizes like we did earlier today. This is fun stuff.
It is. We are very excited. This is the biggest fundraiser for us, and it's exciting to see the community get involved and to see that, that jackpot is rising and rising, and it's all for a great cause. So it's exciting time for us.
It certainly is on our side of it, too, with the idea of maybe winning $50,000 or more. I know it's a guaranteed $50,000. We know it's going to get even bigger than that as time goes on. But you said the magic words there, Carol. It's for a good cause. So can you share with us a little bit about what this money helps Family and Children's Services of Waterloo Region Foundation do?
Sure. So as people may know, as we've been sharing these past few weeks, the foundation is committed to the prevention of child abuse and neglect, and we work with the child protection work of Family and Children's Services and our community partners, and we provide support for healing and prevention programs that aren't funded by the government. So this community support is crucial. And so the 50/50 goes to support programs like emergency support for children and families, emergency support for youth 18 plus, holiday support, and our scholarship programs. So those are just a few of the programs where that 50/50 raffle money goes, and all of the money raised stays right here in Waterloo Region.
Love to hear that. We're all about local on this show. Can't think of a better time of year to be thinking about children and families and helping them out as best we can. And you mentioned scholarships, Carol, which is something I don't know as much about. Can you fill us in more detail on what these scholarships are all about?
Absolutely. The scholarship is part of our prevention work because at the foundation, we believe that education is the best way, one of the best ways to ease poverty and to ensure that young people involved in child welfare have a chance at a better future. And so since 1992, the foundation has provided over 700 scholarships, if you can believe. And last year, we provided or awarded 35 scholarships for full-time studies. It's something students can study in the trades, college, university, certificate programs. We've also got funding through our scholarship program for part-time studies as well. And all of these funds, they're available to students at any time. So if they've been involved with the child welfare system at any time, they can come back to us. It doesn't have to be right after high school. They can come back to us when they're ready and access these funds to help them with post-secondary education. And I think we can all remember how expensive, sometimes shockingly so, secondary school is, or post-secondary school rather. And this is where this money goes to help with those educational expenses. And the great thing is, it's not just for undergrad. It can be for master's programs, it's for trades, it's for PhD. In fact, we've got master's and PhD students who have taken advantage of this scholarship program.
What a great way to ensure that these families and children specifically that we're helping at one point in their life are given every opportunity to succeed at the next stage of life.
Absolutely. Because this funding, as we have heard from the students, it's not actually just about just the money, which is very important to help with education-related expenses. But what we hear back from the students who receive this funding is that for some of them, it really makes them seen. One student said that receiving this money made them feel seen and made them feel like there's somebody out there in our community that cares about them and that helped them to stay on track and to work towards their goals. And other students have shared that it's not just that the money is really fantastic, but knowing that you've got that support, which we all needed if you're going through life, or especially if you're going, to school after high school, you need that support and to know that there's people in your community who are there for you. That goes a long way. So it's not just about the lottery fund, which is fantastic, and we're all about that. But there's something behind that, and it's the scholarship programs and all of the other prevention-related programs that we are a part of.
I love the way you put that, because it is fun to watch this jackpot grow, to think about maybe, what we would do if we were the winner of that jackpot. But the other end of it that you've just explained so well, Carol, is what this is all about. And, I'm thinking on the decades now that we have partnered through this radio group with Family and Children's Services of Waterloo Region to raise money, the old Tree of Hope Radiothon. Yeah. Now we've evolved into this 50-50 raffle. But, and I know the work that you do is so heavy and you work so hard at it. But how much fun is this time of year when we're involved in this campaign for you at Family and Children's Services Foundation?
Oh, it is. It is a lot of fun. The whole team. I wish I could, show it through the radio how much fun and excitement is there in the office around the 50-50 raffle. And it is, yes, the money and watching the jackpot grow and the announcing of the winners every week, which is fantastic. But we're also seeing the back end of that, okay, this is fantastic. So we are going to get great funding for camp, for emergency support, for families and for youth, and the scholarship program, and that feeling that the community is also supporting us, because, as I mentioned earlier, for the prevention programs that we have and that our community partners provide, they're not funded by the government. So we're relying on you, Waterloo Region, to help us as you have in years past.
Carol, thank you very much for the work that you do and the entire team at the Family and Children Services Foundation, and thanks for joining the show today.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you to Rogers and the partnership for all these years. And thank you, Waterloo Region.
Keep it up. We're going to keep that jackpot growing. Thanks, Carol.
Fantastic. Bye.
Carol Kamalo is the annual giving manager with the Family and Children Services of Waterloo Region, joining us to talk about that annual Tree of Hope 50-50 raffle that has a guaranteed minimum of $50,000 in the jackpot. Doug Neely picking up our latest early bird prize this morning. We made the draw at 8. He's got a couple of tickets to see the Jonas Brothers, and he's got himself $1,000 in cold, hard cash. Not only that, but you win the early bird and you stay in the draw for that big jackpot of more than, it's going to get higher than $50,000. By the way, there's another early bird draw coming up a week from today. Next Friday, the 5th of December, we got a pair of tickets to see Ed Sheeran in Toronto this summer. Let's think about summer a little bit. And another $1,000 cold hard cash. Doesn't get much better than that. And you can get tickets right now. Entry point is $10. That gets you 5 numbers. You can go up from there, but for as little as $10, you're in the draw. FACS5050.com. Help us help Family and Children Services of Waterloo Region with the annual Tree of Hope 50-50 raffle. A quick break. Gord, I see you. Tom and Grant, I see you too. And there's even a line for you as we continue Free Phones Friday on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Those are the Santers by request from Greg on this All Request Friday, Winter Songs edition. Song is called Winter Freeze, the Santers, which I think is like the Santas to us here in North America and probably the Santers to those people in Australia or something like that. Sounds like Santa with an accent to me. All Request Friday, Winter Songs edition. A little bit of winter freeze as we continue Free Phones Friday, getting your thoughts on the issues of the day. Gord has been waiting patiently. Thanks for that, Gord. Good afternoon.
I have been waiting very patiently, Mike. It's Gord Harris here.
Oh, Gord Harris Law pregame show, Gord Harris.
Yes, that's the one. I don't know what my number is, but I'm in there somewhere in the 200s.
You are in there, 208, my friend. I got you.
Yes. I will remember that now. I feel a little awkward coming in with this conversation after you had been suggesting that perhaps we don't need our school boards anymore, and I just listened to the Elementary School Teachers Association ad complaining about Doug Ford wanting to get rid of our school board. So I'm just trying to figure out which way this radio station is going here, Mike.
Well, listen, the Teachers Federation, if they want to spend money with us, they're more than welcome to. I have opinions, and I share them, and I feel pretty strongly.
Well, my opinion is I'm not sure I'm agreeing with you on that one, at least in principle, because, I mean, if I want to make an analogy, I don't think it's a surprise to hear that many people think it's a thinly veiled strategy of our provincial government to weaken our healthcare system. Again, chip by chip, dollar by dollar, as an excuse to bring in more private healthcare options.
Sure.
Get people complaining about the system weaken it, and then, hey, well, here's some private health care to save the day. It's happening in Alberta right now. Your afternoon replacement, Mr. Snow was talking about it the other week. I mean, can't we make that argument here? I mean, by your own argument, the successive provincial governments have been taking away powers from the boards to the point where, arguably, do we need them anymore? Well, have they not won? If that happens in the same way that, if they win on the healthcare front, then suddenly we've got two-tier healthcare, and I don't think a lot of people want that. So shouldn't we be analyzing the issue? And I'm not suggesting I have the answer or know what the right answer is, but maybe one thing is, should we be looking at all the powers that have been taken away and questioning whether or not the board should be getting them back? Like, is it an option not making the boards meaningful again? After all, they control a budget that in some communities, including ours, it's larger than the actual city budgets. It's a lot of money. It's an important job.
Gord, I'm with you 100%, and I like the way you're going with that, and maybe we could take a look at those powers that have been eroded and seeing about a restoration of them. In order to do that, though, we're going to need to get our boards of trustees or the trustees on those boards out of each other's way, because all I see, and that's both boards locally right now, all they do is bicker. They're just trying to I don't know what they're trying to do, out-politic each other.
I agree with you. I don't like a lot of what's going on our boards, and I'm completely with you on the amalgamation front. I don't understand why we've got two large school boards in all of our communities. It doesn't make any sense. But that's a different argument. But given the amount of money they control, I don't know if I like the idea of the provincial government taking all that power away year over year. Successive types of governments, NDP, Liberal, Conservative, as you say. I mean, if the question simply is, as they're constituted now, should we have them? Well, maybe you're right. But I don't think that's the first question. I think the first question is, why have we let them get eroded to this point? And was that the right solution? And should some of these powers be coming back? I mean, we have problems with strong mayor powers. We've got a lot of decisions being made at the provincial level that used to be municipal. I don't know what the answer is, but I don't know if I like a concentration of power at the provincial level where it's historically been local. So I'll leave it at that.
Gord, appreciate it. I appreciate your ongoing partnership with this radio station, first and foremost. I love the question you're asking. Absolutely.
Great.
Thanks, Gord. Good to hear from you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Gord Harris. Harris Law. Pre-game show, 6:30 tonight before the Rangers game. But over and above that, what a great question to ask. Instead of, why do our boards have so little power? What about we start talking about when that power started getting stripped away and whether or not we should restore some of that power? Tom, you're on Free Phones Friday. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mike. Appreciate you taking the call. I just wanted to remind you of, that famous music team that we do, Hockey Night in Canada, which the KW Guitar Orchestra will play at their upcoming fundraiser concert for the 519 Community Collective. And among others, they will be including the Carter Family, Wildwood Flower, and we'll even have the Beatles with Obla Di Obla Da. And a lot of people wouldn't recognize this, but one of the composers which will have an original composition, Soberno, has a rock guitar background. So it's kind of an eclectic collection of guitar players, and it'll be worth going to. And it's on Sunday, the 7th of December at 3 p.m. in Benton Street, St. Matthew's Lutheran Church. And I know you mentioned it last week for me, and we were hoping to get a little bit sort of an interview with Marietta Stevenson, the musical director, but things happen. Anyway, I was also going to try and persuade you to use our version of Hockey Night in Canada when you're introducing your snippets on hockey, because I know you're fond of hockey.
I am fond of hockey, Tom, and I got to let it go there because we're fresh out of time. But thank you for reminding us about that concert the corner of Benton and Charles, and that'll be on Sunday, December the 7th, 3 o'clock, in support of 519 Community Collective. I'll see you tonight at the rink, okay? My name is Mike Farwell. You are a force for good. Bye for now.